Hey guys, this is Aaron Carmen from AX Electronic, back with the next video in our series of videos covering basic circuit analysis. So today, we're going to be doing lecture 11, which is talking about capacitors. So for this video, it's just going to be an intuitive explanation about capacitors and why we're concerned with them, what they do, and what they can bring to our circuits. So we're not going to be talking anything about the math, or we're not going to be looking at them in any circuits quite yet. That'll be in the next video. But today we're just going to be discussing them. That way you get a nice feel about what capacitors are and what they do. So a capacitor, you can see that the first little section of the word capacitor and capacitor kind of sounds like capacity, right? So it's capacity. So capacity makes you think it's going to store something. If it has a certain capacity, you know, what's it going to store? And the question is, or the answer is, sorry, it's storing charge. So let's back up and let's look at just a normal capacitor. So in its simplest form, a capacitor is a two-terminal device, meaning it has an in and an out, just like a resistor, and it has two plates. So these two plates I've shown in black here. Now, what people found out was that if you bring these two plates close together and then you apply a voltage across them, normally, you know, here it's just an open circuit, right? So current can't flow between the two because it's an open circuit. But what they found was that charge does move just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to draw a little circuit just so we can kind of get a feel for what's going on. So I'm going to do just a little source. We don't even need to know the value. You can connect the positive end to the left-hand side and the negative end to the right-hand side. So if we have these two plates that are really close together and we apply a voltage, what's going to happen is that a little bit of charge is going to come and get evenly distributed across this plate. Okay, and then those positive charges here, those are going to attract negative charges over here. Okay, so you have positive charges going in over here, so that's like a current going into that plate. And then on the right-hand side, you have negative charges going into the plate, which is similar to positive charges leaving the plate. Okay, so you kind of have a current going through here, but you can only have a certain amount of current because eventually what's going to happen is that if I start trying to put, you know, more charges in here, then the positive charges are going to repel these new ones, and we're going to have to apply more force to get more charges in there. Okay, so these capacitors, they only have a certain capacity. And that's where they get capacitor from, because it has a charge capacity that it can store for a given voltage. All right? And then what they found out happens was that, you know, we have a capacitor that's completely charged like this. So we have the charges, or we have positive charges on the left plate and negative charges on the right plate. That creates an electric field inside of them like this that's storing energy. Okay, so the electric field is pointing this way. And then what they found was that if you open this circuit, okay, so like you open up the switch and you don't have the battery connected anymore. So we just take the, you know, let's say we take this whole source out of the equation. All we have left is just the capacitor. What they found was that the charge stays there because it doesn't have anywhere else to go. The charge is going to want to stay on those capacitor plates with that electric field. So say we have a charged capacitor like this right now. Then if we, you know, let's say we come down here, we hook up a resistor, it's going to want to send these charges away, right? Because those positive charges are all repelling each other, that, you know, they're really close and they want to get far away from each other because similar charges repel. So what happens is all these positive charges are going to start getting pushed out into the circuit, okay? And that's going to be a current going across this resistor, which creates a voltage across that resistor, okay? And then similarly, those positive charges are going to come, you know, they pass through the resistor, and then they come over here and then they start canceling out with negative charges, right? Because a positive plus a negative is just a neutral. Okay, so then what happens is that once all those positive charges are gone, what you get left with is just your capacitor again, except this time it's not storing any charges. So a capacitor, you can think of it as just storing charge, okay, or storing energy in the form of that electric field. Okay? And you might be asking yourself, well, I mean, what's so important about this? Because we can store energy in a battery, and, you know, and it works the same way. So what's really important about the capacitor? Well, the thing is, the capacitor, the way it's set up in circuits is that now we have a little bit of a sense of time, okay? Because before, for our circuits, let's say we have a really, simple circuit like this. Okay, so let's say we have a 3 ohm resistor, another 3 ohm resistor, 6 volt device, or 6 volt supply, sorry about that. Oh boy, I'm writing way too fast. Okay, so then we'll have a plus and minus 3 volts here, plus and minus 3 volts here. So if we measure the voltage here, so let's say we have our red and black leads, and we're measuring this in a meter. So this is a voltmeter. We're going to measure the same thing, whether we measure it now, 10 seconds from now, right? Because these resistors always stay the same. They don't ever change. But now, let's replace this source with a capacitor. And let's say this capacitor is initially charged to 6 volts. Well, it's initially charged to 6 volts, so what that means is that it's going to provide 6 volts to this circuit, right? So it's going to start sending off positive charges into this circuit. But once it sends a positive charge out into the circuit, right, there's less charges on that top plate, so that means that they're going to push each other less. They're going to repel each other less. So, in this example, let's say we sent out those 3 charges to the resistor, and now if we look at the voltage, it's 5 volts. Okay? And then we send out, more charges as time goes on, then it goes down to 4 volts, 3 volts, 2 volts, and 1 volt. And this is going to happen over a set amount of time. And we'll derive the amount of time it takes in the next, in the next video because it's more mathematical. Today we just want to get an intuitive understanding. So the intuitive understanding of capacitors is that they store charge and they store energy in the form of an electric field. Okay, so if we charge up a capacitor and then remove the source, it's going to keep that charge and keep that energy stored in itself. Okay, and then it can provide it later on. Now the special thing about capacitors is that one, they can provide a lot of current very quickly, just based on their material properties. Okay, but that's something that's a little more advanced than we haven't talked about yet. But the big thing that we care about and that we can use in our circuits is that this gives us an instance of time. Okay, so let's say, for example, let's say we have a big old capacitor here, and it's charged to 5 volts. And then we have just a little tiny resistor here. So let's call this a 1 ohm resistor. So that means that 5 amps of current is going to flow initially. So it's just, the capacitor is sending those positive charges out really fast, really fast, really fast. So it's going to drain itself very, very quickly. Okay, so that capacitor is going to drain itself very quickly. So if you look at the voltage on the capacitor, it might look something like this. So I'll call this the voltage on the capacitor versus time. It starts off high and then we connect it and then it might just go boom, shoot down really quick. Whereas if we have exact same capacitor, except now it's connected to a 1 mega ohm resistor. So that's a 1 million ohm resistor. This thing is initially charged to 5 volts. What's going to happen is that, yeah, it's still going to send out those positive charges, but just with a whole lot less frequency, right? Because before we were moving 5 amps, which is 5 coulombs of charge per second. Okay, and now we have the abbreviation for it is 5 microamps, or 5 times 10 to the minus 6 amps. We have a whole lot less charge that's moving. So what's going to happen is that if we look at a graph of the capacitor voltage versus time, we start off charged to 5 volts, and then now it's going to take a whole lot less time for that thing to discharge because it's discharging very, very slowly, right? So it's going to take a whole lot less time. And this is what we can do with capacitors, okay? So if we change the capacitance, let me give you the units for it while we go ahead and go. The capacitance for it is equal to the amount of charge it can store for a given amount of voltage. Okay, so it's Q divided by V. So that means that if we have a higher capacitance, we can store a higher amount of charge without having to put as much energy into it. Okay, so we can store more charge easier in there. So if we have more capacitance, So if, let's say we increase C, that means we can increase the amount of charge that we store for the same voltage. So let's say we just have a 5-volt source, or a 5-volt supply. If we have a 10 farad, let's see, the unit for this is farad, or F. If we have a 10 farad capacitor and a 5-volt source, then that means that we can store, so we say 10 farads is equal to the amount of charge divided by 5 volts. That will give us Q charge is equal to 50 coulombs of charge. So if we apply 5 volts on a capacitor, it will store 50 coulombs of charge. Now if we just have a 1 farad capacitor and the same 5-volt supply, then following that same logic, we can only store 5 coulombs. Okay? So you can see that a bigger capacitor means we can store more charge. Okay? So that means that it's going to have a bigger capacity. Okay? Now I know that we didn't really get into any specifics on capacitive circuits, and there's a reason for that. That's because capacitors, I think, are just a little bit confusing whenever you get started out, because it's hard to tell what they do, it's hard to tell why they're useful. But we'll see in the next video, once we start looking at circuits, how they can provide a sense of time to our circuits. Okay? So if you have any questions, which I'm sure you might, because I'm sure I didn't explain everything there is to know about capacitors, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, because I really enjoy answering questions, especially about topics like this, because for me, whenever I was first learning about electronics, capacitors was something that I really struggled with, because I didn't know why they were useful, what they were for. So if you have any questions at all as far as capacitors and DC circuits, please let me know. I am more than happy to answer them for you. Otherwise, if you like this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Otherwise, I'm Aaron Carmen, and thank you for watching.